Good morning students. We are back with P block elements. Till now we have seen group 15 elements, general electronic configuration, trend in the periodic table, then anomalous behavior of nitrogen. We saw preparation of ammonia by Haber's process in the form of flowchart. Then we saw uses. Then under group 16 elements we have seen general electronic configuration, trend in the periodic table, anomalous behavior of oxygen. Then we saw physical and chemical properties. Then we saw the preparation of ozone. Then we saw uses of ozone. So moving to the next element in group 16 will be your sulfur. Your sulfur in nature occur in two forms. One is in the form of sulfide and another in the form of sulfates. So we will be seeing the first form, how it exists as sulfides. So sulfide will be in four forms, that is in the form of pyrites, in the form of blend, in the form of cinnabar, in the form of galena. So what is sulfur pyrites? Sulfur pyrites means copper sulfide, that is sulfur along with copper, it is referred as copper sulfide, along with iron referred as iron sulfide. So this is nothing but your pyrite form. Next, blend. What is sulfide blend along with zinc? Okay, zinc sulfide. Then cinnabar along with mercury, that is mercuric sulfide. Then galena along with the lead, that is lead sulfide. So this is the existence of sulfur in the form of sulfides. Next is moving to sulfates. Sulfates will be in the combination with water except your barium sulfate. So let us look into the occurrence of sulfates. First one is gypsum. Gypsum is nothing but your calcium sulfate along with water. Then Epsom. Epsom is nothing but your magnesium sulfate along with water. Then barium sulfate. Then Glaber salts is nothing but your sodium sulfate along with water. Apart from the existence of pyrites and your sulfates, sulfur also will be liberated during volcanic eruption. It is also liberated during the conjugation of proteins. Also your sulfur is involved, so it is also liberated during the volcanic eruption. So this is about the occurrence of sulfur. This may be the objective. You can expect from sulfide and sulfate objective questions. Moving to the allotropic forms of sulfur. See, first form of allotrope of sulfur which we are going to see is rhombic sulfur. What is the first form? Rhombic sulfur. Your rhombic sulfur is otherwise called as octahedral sulfur. So what is the other form of rhombic sulfur? It is octahedral sulfur. Now see, this allotropic form of sulfur is yellow in color. It has specific boiling point and has a specific gravity. Then what about how your rhombic sulfur or octahedral sulfur is produced? See, when you evaporate a solution of copper sulfide, okay, you are evaporating the solution of CS2, then what happens? Rhombic sulfur crystals will be formed. It is insoluble in water. We know, right, any compound or any element which is insoluble in water should be soluble in organic solvents like alcohol, ether, etc. Since it is produced by the evaporation of CS2, it is also soluble in CS2, okay, and it is also called as octahedral sulfur. So this is the first allotropic form of sulfur, which is nothing but rhombic or octahedral sulfur. The second form is called as monoclinic sulfur. What is the second form of allotropic form of sulfur called? It is called as monoclinic sulfur, which is otherwise called as beta sulfur. Now we have a specific melting point and gravity for this. It is also soluble in CS2. Okay, it is also soluble in CS2. This is the structure of monoclinic sulfur. So the third allotropic form is plastic sulfur or gamma sulfur. See, this is your yellow sulfur, which is nothing but a crystalline monomer. It's a monomer made up of only one unit. Now when I am going to heat it, I will be getting a rubbery consistency and I will be getting a linear polymer, which is nothing but your plastic sulfur or gamma sulfur. So gamma sulfur is produced from the yellow sulfur, which is nothing but a monomer, which upon heating will become a rubbery constitution, will take up the form of rubbery form, and that will be a linear polymer. Many monomers join to form a polymer. Now the third form will be milk of sulfur, and the fourth allotropic form will be colloidal sulfur. Now what is milk of sulfur? How can you prepare them? See, milk of sulfur is produced by boiling sulfur with milk of lime. What is milk of lime? Milk of lime is nothing but a mixture of calcium pentasulfide and thiosulfide. Okay, so what is milk of sulfur? I am going to get milk of sulfur when I am going to boil sulfur with milk of lime. So I'll be getting two products. What are the two products? I'll be getting calcium pentasulfide and thiosulfide will be formed. Now this end products, upon treating with HCl, I'll be getting milk of sulfur. Okay, I'm repeating the preparation of milk of sulfur. I'm going to boil my sulfur with milk of lime. So I'm getting an end product as calcium pentasulfide and thiosulfate. Okay. Now these two, upon further treatment with hydrochloric acid, I'll be getting milk of sulfur. Done. Now what about colloidal sulfur? Here the thiosulfate is treated with dilute acid. So I'll be getting sulfur, sulfur dioxide and water. So what I'm doing? I am just treating thiosulfate with dilute acids. So what I'm getting? I'm getting sulfur, I'm getting sulfur dioxide, I'm getting water. Clear? So I'm getting sulfur, sulfur dioxide and water. This is the treatment of thiosulfate with dilute acids, and this is about the reaction. So till now, how many forms of allotropic forms we have seen? We have seen rhombic sulfur, then we have seen monoclinic sulfur, then we saw gamma sulfur or plastic sulfur, then we saw milk of sulfur, and then we saw colloidal sulfur. Now moving to sulfur dioxide preparation, that is preparation of sulfur dioxide. How to prepare sulfur dioxide? See, sulfur dioxide is formed along with little amount of sulfur trioxide. What is SO2? Sulfur dioxide. SO3? Sulfur trioxide. So along with the SO2 gas, sulfur trioxide is also formed when you burn sulfur in air. So air contains oxygen. So when I am going to burn sulfur in air, along with SO2, I will be getting little, that is 8% of SO3 is also obtained. Then industrially, your sulfur dioxide is produced as a byproduct which is obtained by roasting of sulfide ores. Okay, so industrially it is produced as a byproduct when they are roasting sulfide ores. Then laboratory method of preparation of sulfur dioxide involves the use of sulfuric acid. This reaction we are familiar. When I am going to treat copper tunings with a sulfuric acid, what happens? Copper sulfate plus water. I mean copper sulfate plus SO2 plus water. So this is how sulfur dioxide is produced. Let us sum up the reaction. So when you burn sulfur in air, you will be getting sulfur dioxide and a little amount of sulfur trioxide. Then industrially, sulfur dioxide is produced as a byproduct when you roast sulfide ores. Then in laboratory, when you treat copper tunings with sulfuric acid, you will be getting copper sulfate, sulfur dioxide and water. Now moving to the physical properties, as we all know, like oxygen, it's also a colorless gas, but when you look into the smell of sulfur, it's a pungent smelling gas, and it is soluble in water, and in room temperature with 2 atmospheric pressure it liquefies, and its boiling point is 263 Kelvin. So this is about the physical properties of sulfur. Now moving to the chemical property. So what is the treatment of sulfur dioxide with other chemicals and what is the direct end product? We are going to see one by one. See, sulfur dioxide, when I am going to treat it with basic solution like sodium hydroxide, what happens? Sodium sulfate is produced. Very direct reaction. Sulfur dioxide along with basic solution. Here the basic solution taken is sodium hydroxide. So sodium sulfate is produced. Now when I am going to treat sulfur dioxide with halogens like chlorine, bromine, iodine, etc., then I will be getting the product as sulfuryl halides. Since here the halide taken is chlorine, I will be getting the product as sulfuryl chloride. If I take iodine, then sulfuryl